see it in the right orientation. Look at my YouTubers, ready to go. Guys, Dr. Pinesett here, the study doc. Tonight we're talking MCAT, and I'm so happy because people who are on my email list, I sent an email saying, hey, I'm going live talking about MCAT this week, and I was like, listen, do you guys have any questions that you want to talk about? Because we're going to train Wednesday night on YouTube, and they said, listen, I want to know about this, and so we got some other good stuff to talk about for the MCAT in addition to rescheduling for your MCAT, but it's a big question that's happening right now, right? It's January, we are live action, right? Dr. Pinesett here, and a lot of students are asking me about postponing their MCAT because January is a big MCAT month. And so I thought, let's jump into it. Let's get to it. Let's go. And Jared, I'm so glad that I've helped you improve your studying. That's what it's all about, guys. That's why I'm the study doc. So we're going to hit the intro on YouTube, and then we're going to get rolling. So my people who are over here watching on IG, we got 2 streams going simultaneously right now. My IGers, get over to YouTube so you can see this all in full color live action. Y'all, here we go. What I teach you guys is transformation. If you didn't dominate, changes need to be made. So I give you guys entire systems that make you new. But stop making excuses, stop whining, stop, right? Get at it. No excuses, just dominate. Guys, I'm so excited. We're in the intro over here on YouTube. Instagram, AJ just said he's gotten the medical school acceptance. Yeah, we like that. So we're talking MCAT today, y'all. MCAT. I see Andrew made it from last night. What's going on? We got a lot happening in terms of comments. I'm going to get you guys' comments. Listen, throughout this stream, if you guys have questions about the MCAT, we're here to learn, right? We're here to get better. So if you have questions, put them in the box. They must be MCAT related because we got to stay on task. But that's what it's about. So Jared says, took your MCAT course and helped me feel so dominant this past Saturday. Yes, what I'm talking about, right? Why is everybody getting to medical school and not letting me know until right now? Let's go, y'all. Let me know what's happening. If y'all excited for this tonight, like this video right now. Let me know you guys are excited to be back live. Oh, Dr. Pinesett in here. Let's go. Are my elbows ashy? Oh no, I'm okay. I put lotion on today. We all right. All right. So we're talking about rescheduling the MCAT. How many of you guys are in that boat? You're like, man, I signed up for the MCAT, but I'm not feeling ready. I'm signed up. I just don't know if this is my day. This is my time. I don't know if I'm going to do well. I'm so nervous. I'm so stressed out. Should I postpone my test? And a lot of students postpone this MCAT, but they don't ask themselves a couple key questions that are essential to making sure that we aren't repostponing. We're not in the postponement cycle. And how many of you guys have been in that cycle? I know people in that cycle where it's like you postpone once, and you're like, oh, I'll take it then if I'm ready. And then that comes up again, and you're not ready. And it's again, am I ready? I'm not ready. Am I ready? I'm not ready. I'm not ready, right? You get in that cycle. We don't want to do that. So we're going to ask ourselves a couple key questions to make sure that we are successful for that next time, that we are ready. We got it. We're going to go. Okay? So the first question is, can everybody see this? Tell me why ain't nothing but the MCAT. Is this mirrored? My Instagrammers, can you see this? If you can't see this, get over to my YouTube channel, right? The Study Doc YouTube channel, you guys see it right. Now my YouTubers can see it. Why am I rescheduling? I know that seems like a straightforward, basic question, but I can't tell you how many students don't ask themselves that question. They just reschedule mindlessly. We have to understand why we signed up for a test date. We made the commitment to get something done, and we didn't get it done. We didn't prepare effectively, and we're not ready for that test. So we must establish why. First things first. Why am I needing to reschedule? We ask ourselves this question because since we are rescheduling, and only in that cycle of rescheduling, we want to figure out what went wrong and how we can fix it. Before we can get to what the major factors are, right, that go into someone going wrong and not being prepared for MCAT, it's so important you guys understand what makes the MCAT go right, right? How many of you guys want to learn the MCAT formula for success? Want to know that it's very simple. It's just a simple formula that points out, okay, if I want a great MCAT score, here's what I have to do. What is the formula? What determines your MCAT score, guys? My students will know it. They're going to light the box up right now for you guys. Right? But how do we determine our MCAT score? Look at Kasim, first in the box like always. I love it. I love it. You know what's up. I love people who are informed. Right? Our MCAT score is quite simple. You can boil it all down to 2 things. The first is quantity time. That's the first ingredient to your MCAT score. You must put in sufficient time into your MCAT prep. How many of you, as you think about the MCAT, as you prepare for the MCAT, you feel like, man, I don't have enough time to get in the prep I need to? If you start your studying saying this is not enough time, you've already lost, because quantity time is the first of two ingredients that make up your MCAT score. The second ingredient is quality of time. The amount of time you spend studying for the MCAT multiplied by the quality of that time gives you your MCAT score. If you are preparing for the MCAT and you're nowhere near your goal score, what must you do? Put more time in or improve the quality of your time. This is the basic formula. So as you guys who are not already even taking the MCAT yet, right? But you're like, ooh, I got the MCAT coming up eventually. I'm a pre-med. I know it's coming up. I want to get ahead, right? And the people who are ahead, right, the early bird, people who are thinking about things years in advance, the people who are the most successful, right? We don't let the MCAT sneak up on us. Oh my gosh, there's a big test. I gotta know. No. We're thinking about the MCAT years in advance. And if we're thinking about that, then we start to think, wait a minute. As I go to prepare for my MCAT, how can I maximize the quantity of time I spend and the quality of time I spend on that MCAT? Yes, yes? Yes, yes. Like the video if you guys understand what I'm saying right now. Comment, let me know where we're at, that you guys can see this, that we're not flipped out. We're right, okay? Why am I rescheduling? The number one reason that students reschedule their exam is this. The number one reason that students have to reschedule or consider rescheduling their MCAT exam, if they were to ask themselves, wait, why? Why am I rescheduling? Why am I not prepared? It's this. They failed to give the MCAT the time and or the attention it deserves. Do you got, how many of you guys can relate? Let's go, right? We're learning from each other. We're a community. How many of you guys have prepared for the MCAT before and either you took the MCAT and your score was trash, it wasn't what you wanted, or you were preparing, you got close and you're like, ooh, I'm not ready. And you can, in this moment when I said it to you, it hit at you like, dang, he's right. I didn't give the MCAT the time or the attention it deserved. Right? Connor on Instagram, if you can't even read that, bruh, get over to YouTube. That's why we're on YouTube. I'm being nice over here on Instagram. YouTube is where it's at because it's forwards and it's big. You can see me and you can hear me. So if you can't see it, bruh, if it's flipped, bruh, get over to YouTube. Simple. Simple fix. The link is in my bio on Instagram. Am I right or am I wrong? Right? Take that extra step. Let's go. Time or attention. Time or attention. Time or attention. We'll come back to that. The second thing that happens, right? What's the second reason? The second most common reason that students don't get it done. Their approach to MCAT studying was insufficient. Time, attention, or approach. One of those three things, guys, most of the time, that's why you're not prepared for the MCAT. For you guys who hit MCAT plateaus, I'm stuck, my score's not improving. How much time are you spending? When you're spending time, are you at attention? Are you focused? Are you activated? When you are activated, when you are studying, what is your approach to that material? How are you reading? How are you watching? How are you taking notes? How are you learning? What is your approach to everything you're doing? 1, 2, and 3. Time, attention, approach. Why am I rescheduling? Because I didn't put time in, I didn't put the attention in, or I didn't approach it correctly. And often it's multifactorial, it's multiples of these things, but these are the three principal things that you guys, so important, make this adjustment. Yes? This is so, so important. The example of this, right? We ask ourselves, why am I rescheduling? We ask ourselves this question because then our second question becomes, I'm going to write it here to save us some room. How can I change? Why am I needing to reschedule? What needs to change? And then how do I change it? And this is important because if we can hone in here and say, okay, it's one of these three things, then we can ask ourselves, well, how can I put in more time? How can I put in more attention, be more focused? How can I have a better approach? Everybody still with me? Does this make sense? Why, what, and then how? Yep. Because if we reschedule, but we don't have a better plan for our time, our attention, or our approach, we're going to end up in the same cycle. I see a lot of people on social media post about how they're proud they took the MCAT 4 times, 5 times, struggled, and then passed it. That's not impressive. Why, guys? Why am I not impressed if you've taken the MCAT 5 times and you finally do well? Why am I not impressed with that? Yes, you're determined, and yes, you get an applause for that. But what is the problem? Why did we take the exam 5 times? What's wrong with that? What's flawed with that? What's wrong with that, guys? Perfect. Suman just said it. If you take the MCAT once and you don't do well, you do poorly, you score 495. The people who take the exam 5 times most often are the people who 495 one time and they say, oh, I'm going to take it again. They sign up 2 months later and they take it again. 498. I'm going to take it again. 501. Take it again. Well, if you're not prepared, you've got to make significant changes to make that next test the right one. Why waste the time, the energy, the stress, all of these things to not get to your goal? We have to recognize what we're going to change, make that plan, and then make that change. You shouldn't be taking the MCAT 5 times. It happens sometimes, but that shouldn't be the case. Because if you don't do it right the first time, we've got to figure out what we have to do right to get it the next thing. And it doesn't happen instantly. And what happens for a lot of you guys, right, we always want this instant change. Snap the finger, I'm better. Oh snap, my MCAT went poorly? Okay, then, you know what? I got a 498, but my goal is 515, and now I want it more than ever. More than ever. And we were talking about this in study coaching last night, is that it's interesting how we look at life. And oftentimes we confuse a goal, a wish, a hope, because they're all the same thing. A goal, wish, and a hope, all the same thing. We confuse a goal, a wish, a hope, a want, a desire, a passion for something with a plan to execute it, with the ability to execute it, with the effort to execute it. And when we confuse these things, it's hugely problematic. Because for a lot of you guys, you're like, oh yeah, I just got to want it more. And when people say that, like, oh, you just got to really want it, and then you'll get there. How many of you guys have heard that? Oh, you just really want it. You got to really want that MCAT score. You got to really want medical school and you'll get there. How many of you guys have heard things like that? We're live action, y'all. Dr. Pinesett here. We're talking MCAT. We are live. If I ask a question, it's not rhetorical. Respond. How many of you guys have heard you just got to want it more? You didn't want it bad enough. How many of you guys have heard that from people? You didn't want it bad enough. You didn't want it more. Those who want it, get it. Right? We hear those things. I see you guys lighting the box right now. But that's not the truth. That's not the reality. People are lying to you, gassing you up with emptiness. Because it isn't. How many of you guys want straight A's? Right? How many of you guys want a 520 MCAT? We all want those things. It's not like you didn't want it before. So wanting it more isn't going to get you there. What's going to get you there is having the plan, the skill set, right? And the consistency to actually put the work in to get there. That's the separator. And so it goes back to this. Changing your want is not going to get it done. These are the things you have to do. And oftentimes people take the MCAT a billion times. What they're thinking is, oh, I just got to want it more. No, guys. Time, attention, approach. Now, for some of you guys, you lack motivation, right? For some of you guys, you lack engagement, excitement about the process. And so because of that, these things linger. But we've got to address these with systems and plans and processes to address these things. So how can I change? An easy example is time. So since so many students don't put in enough time into their MCAT prep, we have to get into it, y'all. Time. How do we change the time we're putting in for the MCAT? And when we talk about this time, guys, and I ask you this, okay, well, how much time is enough time? So if I were to ask you guys, how much time is enough time on the MCAT? How much time should someone spend? Hey, Dr. Pinesett, is 3 months enough time? Hey, Dr. Pinesett, is 6 months enough time? How much time is enough time? Got to read the laptop here, see what's happening with everybody. Yes, wanting is never enough. Got to have that effective action, like Meryl just said, right? How much time is enough time? My students are in the box cheating. Well, to understand this, let's understand the MCAT. Is the MCAT a standardized test? Does the MCAT have a curve? Essentially, roughly, right? It's semantics, right? But the MCAT has percentiles, and we score along those percentiles, right? The median is around 502-ish, right in that range. And then we have deviations off of that. Yes? So the question then becomes, where do you want to score? If you're saying, I want to score 510, I want to score 515, you're upwards close to 85, 90th percentile up there, right? So if you're up there at the 90th percentile-ish, that means you have to score better than 90% of people who take the exam. Does that logic meet up to everyone? If you want to score the 90th percentile, that means you score better than roughly 90% of people who take the exam. Yes? So if that's our goal, and we ask how much time is required to meet that goal, that means that we should be spending, if we want to score 90th percentile, 90% better than everyone, we should spend about 90%, right? We spend more time than 90% of people. Well, what's the average amount of time people spend? It's greater than 300 hours. So on average, right, and this is all kind of, here he said, she said kind of stuff, right? People say 300 hours. I don't know how accurate that is, but let's just say it is 300 hours. So if the average student who takes it, 300 hours, if you want to score 90th percentile, do you have to spend more or less than those hours? Again, we're live, right? I got all the time in the world. So answer the question, y'all. Let's go. If you're having fun tonight, like this video right now, comment right now. Let me know I'm not talking to myself, right? Don't make me feel alone in this place. We in this together, y'all, together. Together. Right? Abner says more, right? Way more, way more. So that becomes obvious. So this is where the inequities, right? The inequalities of MCAT prep come in, because for my disadvantaged students who have to work, my disadvantaged students who have familial obligations and so forth, all that stuff takes time away from your prep. You got to work full time. You can't MCAT full time. I was a disadvantaged student. I got a great MCAT score, stellar. I work with disadvantaged students all the time. They get stellar MCAT scores. And part of the process that we have to understand is, hey, some of us are disadvantaged. Some of us do have obstacles. But obstacles are just excuses. What we have to do is find solutions to overcome them. And it becomes with strategic thinking. And so as we talk about time, most of us think about time in terms of months. So I get the question, how many months, how many months, how many months? And what they neglect to think about is our opportunities to think about different accesses of time. Months, weeks, days, and hours. So now, if I'm a student and I have to work full time, which means I lose 40 hours, I lose 40 hours every week. If we're just thinking in terms of months, and we say, okay, well, most people do 3 to 6 months. If I do 6 months, but I'm working full time, my hours are going to be lower than everyone else who did that. So what we have to do is go to weeks, go to days, and go to hours. So then if we say, okay, listen, I'm putting in 8 hours a day at work. That's fine. But then how many other hours can I put in those days? So if I'm doing 8 hours of work, how many hours can I get each day? Well, I can't get a lot because I'm working. So then let's slide out here to months. And let's say instead of doing 3 to 6 months, which is what the average student does who doesn't have a full-time job, I have a full-time job, so I can't get as many hours in each day. I can't get as many days in each week. And I'm going to have obligations for weeks where I got a project, whatever, do at work, so I can't do that. So I've got to think in terms of months. So then instead of 3 to 6 months, my students who are full-time, what do I always say? If you're working full-time, we need 12 to 18 months. And when I say that, some of you guys are going to cringe. 12 to 18 months on the MCAT, that's crazy. Is it? Is it crazy? Because if I'm working 40 hours a week, I can't put in as many hours each day as the average student. So therefore, I have to look at the access differently and expand the amount of months to give myself the opportunity to get to the hours. Does that make sense? To me, it's very simple, but it's a concept, right? It's very simple, but it's something that we miss. We have these blockers, and we're thinking about things as fixed. Okay, I need to put in 3 months. Well, no, everyone's 3 months are not the same. If I have to take care of my family, if I have to work, if I have the kids, if I have all these kind of things, my work week is not the same. My day is not the same. So I must slide it out to where I can create the advantage with months. So this is why I don't have any time for like, oh, I'm disadvantaged, I gotta work. I don't have time for that because you should be out here then. Put the time in, right? One of my students recently, she put in 12 months, right? Work full time, blah, blah, 12 months. And then she got, I think it was 513, 514. Incredible MCAT score. And now she's actually interviewing. She's texting me this week. She's interviewing at Stanford in just a couple days here. That's her dream medical school. But she was willing to listen and say, no, I'm gonna put in this amount of time. So we have to adjust each of these. And it's the same thing for attention and approach. And we won't get into that. This video will be forever. But if you guys want to learn about time, attention, approach, all these things, and maximize this formula, you guys know I have my MCAT course. How to dominate the MCAT, the Unexpensive Prep class. It walks through all of this stuff. And it's super affordable on my website, thestudydoc.com. So check that out, guys, if you want all the rest of the stuff. But I hope this clarifies this time quotient for you guys. As we're talking about this time quotient, I'll say one more thing. If you prepared for 3 months for the MCAT and you're not prepared when test day comes, the mistake is to say, okay, I'm going to study for 1 more month and that'll do the trick. So you studied for 3 months, didn't get to where you wanted to go. So now you're going to add 1 month and somehow get there? I studied for 3 months. I'm scoring 498. So now I'm going to study for 3 more months and I'll be at 515. Is that realistic? What can I realistically change? What's realistic for me to make an adjustment to be successful? If you studied 3 months and you're at 498, you're going to need more than 3 months to get that next to 515. It's not going to happen. Does that make sense? You got to put in significant amounts of time, attention, and have a different approach when you guys go at it. Yes, like this video, y'all. That was point number 1. Oh my gosh, we're only on question. There's so much more to go. I'm debating here. I got front and back here. I'm debating whether we should keep going. Should we keep going? Who's still with me? All right. Okay. The third thing that we have to ask ourselves. So now we figured out what our issue is. We've developed a plan to overcome that issue. So now we've got a different sound plan of execution for MCAT. We've done that. Okay? Let me reset real quick. Guys, Dr. Pinesett here, the Study Doc. We are live action on YouTube right now. Get to my YouTube channel right now, y'all. We're going to be live training every Thursday. Today's Wednesday. You're like, wait, it's Wednesday. Why are we live action today? Because tomorrow, guys, I have Disney on Ice with the kids. Just telling the truth. I have Disney on Ice with the kids tomorrow. And my son is already saying it's going to be the new best day of his life. He loves Disney on Ice. So tomorrow's gonna be the new best day of his life. And so I have to teach you guys tonight so that way I can do Disney on Ice tomorrow night. So we're here Wednesday, but we'll be live action on my YouTube channel, guys, The Study Doc, every single Thursday, training, Blackboard, iPad, whiteboard, training, educating, learning, getting better. So make sure you guys subscribe, turn on live notifications. We're talking MCAT tonight, guys. If you guys don't know, I have an amazing, super affordable, because I want to create opportunities for you guys, MCAT course on my website, guys. So check that out. Our first question was, what did I do wrong? Second question is, how do I fix it? The third question is, okay, now that I have a plan to fix it, how does this new preparation plan, how does this new MCAT test day, how does it affect my application timeline? You're like, wait, what does application timeline have to do with my MCAT prep? It has to do with your planning. Because what happens for people is they're signed up to take the MCAT in May. They get close to their May MCAT test date and they say, ooh, I'm not ready. What I'm going to do is I'm going to postpone till July. I'm going to take it in July and then I'll be okay. What's the problem with that, guys? What's the problem with that? Oh, okay, I'm not going to take it right now. I'm going to take it in July. Perfect. I love it. We failed to ask about the application timeline. We failed to ask about the application timeline. Because if we take the MCAT in July, we get our score back in August. Is that late? It's not super late, but it's not early. And when it comes to applying to medical school, getting your application in June, doesn't have to be June 1st, but getting your application in June is it's a huge factor that affects your ability to get into medical schools. Applying in June by itself doesn't get you into medical school. But applying in June as opposed to applying to August amplifies your chances of getting in. Yes? So if we take the MCAT in July, we don't get our score back till August. That's a little bit late, kind of a lot of it late. I think it's too late, but it's late. Even if it's on time-ish, the problem is, in that same period of time when you're doing the MCAT, what must you also be doing? You must also be putting your application together. We just said the top reasons that people aren't ready is time and attention. If I'm studying for the MCAT and I'm putting my application together, I've now added a new obligation onto my calendar. And therefore, the application is going to steal, swipe or no swiping, it's going to steal time and attention away from our MCAT preparation. Therefore, it's going to reduce our ability to get the score we want because the quantity of time we'll have and the quality of that time will be reduced. And so our MCAT score or MCAT improvement will be slower and will suffer. Does this make sense? It's cognitive dilution. Yes? If we have to spend time thinking about, stressing about the application, if we have to spend time working on the application, that's all time and stress and energy that you're not putting in your MCAT prep. So you're hurting your ability to score the MCAT. Simultaneously, you're applying late anyway. So what you'd be better off doing, as I think it was Schrimitz said, is that you should push your MCAT to September, or even better, to January, and then apply the following cycle. Because this now allows you studied for 3 months, it didn't go well, so now you can study for 6 months until January, take it in January, then it gives you 5 months of uninterrupted time to put your application together so you can apply early and complete and correct with a great MCAT score and a proper application and maximize your chances of getting in, like the students mentioned earlier that got in this cycle, right, who listened to my MCAT stuff and my application stuff. That's what you want to do, because the goal, guys, is not, don't be in a hurry to get rejected. Sometimes I feel like as pre-meds, you guys rush to rejection, thinking like, oh, there's a prize. There's no prize if you don't get in. The prize is getting that white coat, It's getting to serve patients. It's getting to have an awesome thing. You guys see I'm still in my scrubs because I came home just straight from work to get this going. The joy I have every day of getting to treat patients and having fun with it, guys, it's so freaking awesome. It's so freaking awesome. Anesthesiologists, people come into surgery, they're freaked out. Like, oh my gosh, I'm getting this bunion removed, and I'm just so stressed, I might die on the table. And I'm like, for me, right, it's like a bunion, it's like easy. But it's my job then to make them feel comfortable and calm. Oh, it's gonna be okay. That bunion, we're gonna nip that thing right off. Oh, I'm gonna keep you so safe and cozy. Oh, and they're excited. And we go and do surgery, and it's a great day. But you can't get that if you get rejected, right? So we have to work for it. We have to recognize the objective is to get accepted. So we have to consider our application timeline, because then we might say, okay, wait. Why am I going to rush and take it in July only to be late in my application? I might as well take the extra months, take it in January, and be absolutely prepared, maximize my score, maximize my chances of getting in. Yes? Does that make sense to everybody? Does everybody see how that question of what is my application timeline and how does this new plan affect it, how that will shift your thinking in terms of when and how you approach this MCAT? Yes, yes? I'm going to skip this other thing. We're not going to talk about that because we're already at 30 minutes. This whole thing's supposed to be 30 minutes, and I've now skipped a lot, but it's all good. Who is with me? Who is learning? Who is seeing things, okay? If you guys want, okay, we've covered this. The fourth thing, the bonus thing that we'll talk about. We skip number 4. We'll go to bonus. The bonus thing that you must ask yourself, okay? It's super important. Is should I take my MCAT as currently scheduled? Hear me and hear me now. You're like, what? We just said we're going to postpone it. No. Yes, we're going to take the MCAT for realsies in a couple months or whenever. But you already have an MCAT test date scheduled. A big mistake I see students make is they reschedule and just push the MCAT test date out into the ether. And they don't test at their regularly scheduled date. But it is to your advantage in certain circumstances to sit for the MCAT exam on your scheduled test date, even though you know you are not prepared to get a great MCAT score. Why or when would it be beneficial for you guys as students to take your scheduled MCAT knowing you are not prepared? Who might that be useful for? What situations would that be a good strategy? Right? Because not all advice, right? Not everything's one size fits all, right? We all have different situations, scenarios, things we're facing. And as you guys look for people to coach you, to mentor you, to advise you, recognize that they have to be very versatile in understanding individual situations and how those variables affect what you must do to be successful. So important. It's not one size fits all. We have to look at the specific situation. I see black man, white coat is the only person who wrote it down. Who and when, why would it be beneficial to take an MCAT knowing you're not prepared? Who and when and why? The answer is this. I'll say the third one. If you have never taken the MCAT before, you have no scores on your record, going in and taking the MCAT for fun can be a great experience because it's going to give you the opportunity to see what the day is, to see really what it's like, to have gone through it, to have it demystified for you. Right? That's why we tour medical schools, to have it demystified for you. If we've never taken it, you can afford one bad MCAT, because we just talked earlier about how our second time we take the MCAT is going to be successful. We're not going to reschedule multiple times. We're rescheduling it once, and that time is going to be the money we're going to get on it. So we can take the MCAT once, do horribly. Take it a second time, do great, and medical schools will not penalize us for that. So if we've never taken the MCAT, consider sitting for the exam to get a sense of what test day is like. Additionally, if you are a person with test anxiety, right? Where are my test anxiety people at, right? A lot of you guys out there who suffer from test anxiety, exam anxiety, your palms are sweaty. Oh my gosh, I knew everything, got into the test, it all left me. One of the aspects that contributes to anxiety is this fear of the unknown, is the uncertainty of a situation. So if you've never been into one of these testing centers and you've never sat for the official MCAT and you don't know what that's going to be like, that can be very anxiety provoking. But if we go in and do a practice run and we see how everything is and we realize there's no big scary monsters hanging out at Prometric, it may ease our test anxiety burden. Does that make sense to everybody? The third aspect is that by taking that exam as a practice exam, as people are putting in the box, it's going to give you a very accurate score because it's a real, current, right? Graded on the current percentiles MCAT exam. So if you go into this MCAT exam and you get a score out of it, it's going to truly tell you exactly where you are and how far off you are from your goal. And where that is valuable is that some of us, all of us, have a tendency to justify, to lie, to mislead ourselves, to make ourselves feel good, right? I get lots of flack because on social media, people want to placate you, make you feel good, but they don't want to make you good. I'd rather make you good. I'd rather hurt your feelings and make you good, right? And so people are like, oh my God, I hurt my feelings. I don't care about your feelings. I care about you being good. If you have a current, real life MCAT score and it's low, it's 495, you can't then lie to yourself and say, oh, you know what? It's just that one exam. I read deep into Reddit that this exam is the most challenging and that's why my score is low, but really I'm scoring 515. That 495 was a fluke. And so for some of us who need a reality check, who need that kick to say, no, I'm really far from my goal. I need to get myself together, put more time in, be more focused, have a better approach. It can be that little nudge that kicks you into full tilt gear to get the job done. So if you've never taken the exam and or you have test anxiety, it's great to go in to get a practice run, to get an accurate score, to give you a real assessment of where you're at across the whole test, also across different sections, right? So you can, again, improve that plan of action, be successful, and get to your MCAT score goal. Does everybody understand that? If you guys, as students, if your MCAT test date is approaching and you are not prepared, it doesn't mean you are a failure. It does mean that you have failed to prepare this time. The people who get into medical school acknowledge that, accept that, identify how they failed, create a plan to change their failure, to make it successful, account for their application. Those people get in. Those people get in. It's okay in life to fail. It's okay to acknowledge you failed. It's okay to acknowledge you messed up. It's okay to say you made a mistake. Because if you can be honest, if you can be truthful, if you can acknowledge where you messed up, if you can acknowledge how things are flubbed, it gives you the opportunity to make corrective action changes and become successful. But if you lie to yourself, if you go in with blinders on, you're not going to make the change. You're not going to make the improvement. You're not going to make the strides you need to get successful, to get to your goal. Does that make sense to everybody? Yes? There's nothing wrong with needing help. There's nothing wrong with any of that stuff. But you got to step up for yourself. You've got to step up and say, dang, I need some help. I need some improvement. I thank you guys for hopping on here because it means you're like, you know what? I need to get better. I need something more. Help me out, Dr. P. Give me something. That's the first step. The second step, guys, I'm telling you, if you need to figure out how to maximize your time, how to be more focused, how to have a very radical and different approach to the MCAT, get to my website, thestudydoc.com, and get into my MCAT course. It's super affordable, super powerful. It's amazing stuff. One of my students this week just took step 1 with it and got a 90th percentile step 1 score using my MCAT course. It's very powerful stuff, guys, because it teaches you this, and this. Does everybody understand? Did we have fun tonight? Did we have a good time? Here for all the power-ups. I like that. Right? I like that. The power-up. We're going to start calling this the weekly power-up. It's the pre-med power-up. Ah. All right, guys. My voice is going. I'm tired. We are at how long? 40 minutes. I promised the wife that we would only do 30 minutes every week. We're already at 40 minutes. I'm making myself a liar. I told her, I'm like, listen, my private coaching, my study coaching, my pre-med coaching, it's only going to go, we're going to do our scheduled 90 minutes every week. And last night we did 2.5 hours of study coaching. I'm a failure. I can't set timelines. I just like to teach. I'm sorry. All right. I'll answer one question. Do you have a question they want about the MCAT? Tori, I'm glad this was super helpful. Big love. Jacob, Kasim in the building. Big love, y'all. What up? Savannah, I'm so glad you like this. Appreciate it. If you guys' first time with me, make sure, get to my YouTube channel, you Instagrammers. Get to my YouTube channel, right? The link is in my bio. Subscribe. Toggle the bell to turn on the live notifications so you always get blasted when I'm live. You're here with us from moment 1. You don't miss anything. Right? LaTanya, I appreciate that. I feel like I'm the bomb. I'm the bomb, y'all. Right? This is an opportunity every week, every Thursday. We're going to be live action, getting you guys better. If you want to get better, this is the place to get there. Okay. Great question. Suman asks, I'll pull it up on the screen here. Suman asks, should I get a tutor if it's our 3rd time taking the MCAT? And Suman, this is the beauty of this, right? So anybody who knows me knows I teach in systems and steps. And so I walked you guys through 1, 2, 3, and a bonus steps to take for your MCAT, right? And so, Suman, I'm going to answer your question with the board. Should I get a tutor if it's my 3rd time? Well, if it's your 3rd time, why is it your 3rd time? What went wrong your 2nd time? What was the problem? Time, attention, or approach. Getting a tutor does what? Which one of these 3 does the tutor help with? Everybody can answer. I know I'm talking to Suman. I'm talking to all you guys. Should you get a tutor? Should you get a tutor? Which one of these 3 does getting a tutor affect? Perfect. It's going to affect your approach because you approached it alone previously. But now you're saying, listen, I need help. I need someone to teach me the concepts. You know what? My fund of knowledge, right? What I know is weak. So I need someone to teach me the content in a way that I can understand, that I can remember, and then I can apply on MCAT test day. So the tutor will help me with that. That's one bucket. Hey, the tutor might help me, right, approach the test and understand that the MCAT is a very specific test and I need nuanced strategies for reading passages, understanding patterns, breaking down complex questions, sifting through answers, and solving things critically. So can the tutor improve my fund of knowledge? Can they improve my approach to test taking? If they can do that, that's going to improve my approach. Maybe they can also help you get your schedule together and help with your time. Maybe they can help you organize your life so you're more attentive and more focused. Maybe you do better with that accountability of the person, and so that improves your focus. Right? So a tutor can affect all 3 of these, but this is going to be the big one. It's going to be your approach. They're going to give you some fresh insight and approach to the exam and how you do it. So if, Suman, your issue is that you have difficulty reading and learning independently and you need someone to teach you, that can help. My big caveat with a tutor for the MCAT is that when you guys are dependent on teachers and tutors, you guys know I always preach student independence. I want my students independent because that's the only thing we can count on is ourselves. When you go to a tutor, the problem is that many tutors understand it their way. They understand what they understand. And so when they go to teach you, they're going to teach you their understanding. The problem with that for the MCAT is that it's such a big exam that if someone is teaching you material and you haven't made it your own, it doesn't mean something personally to you, it isn't personally meaningful, it's going to be very difficult for you to take what they said and hold it in your brain for the months of preparation leading up to the exam. This is the problem with Anki decks too. People are like, oh, we got the super MCAT Anki deck. It's the same issue. If you are looking at someone else's understanding of the material, in that moment, it makes perfect sense. When the tutor explains it, it makes perfect sense. When you read that Anki card, it makes perfect sense. But then a week from now, 2 weeks from now, will you remember it? Is it sticky enough for your brain? That's the big gap. And so I caution people about tutors, about borrowed Anki decks, about these things, because you're getting other people's understanding and it's not going to be sticky enough to sustain you over all those months. And this is one of the big problems with these big expensive prep classes. You get a tutor and it all makes sense during class. But then a month later, you're like, wait, we covered that? We did? I don't remember that. Oh yeah, they did talk about that in lecture. I have notes right here, but I don't remember it, right? That's what happens. So you got to make the material your own. That's my one caution about a tutor. But yes, it'll help you change that. Does that make sense, Simone? We answered your question with these questions up here. So now you guys have a framework when you guys think about your MCAT. Okay, what should I do differently? What's going to affect these two things, quality and quantity of time? What's going to affect time, attention, approach? Because these are the most common things that are issued. Okay, here's the average number of time. And we talked about time and thinking about it in different axes. For attention and approach, we can do the same thing. We don't have time tonight. Maybe I'll do, you guys want other videos? We can do more videos on attention and approach, and we'll cover that stuff too. But this is so important. And ultimately, if you guys want all of this stuff, right? I just told you guys, my course, How to Dominate, right? The MCAT without an expensive prep class. Super affordable, super effective, but we go over all this stuff in detail. And we break down this formula into all of its key ingredients to give you the right recipe for MCAT prep. So, Simon, thank you for your question. All right. We are now at 47 minutes, so I'm going to sign off. But thank you guys for joining me. Like I said, we'll be live every single week, every single Thursday, 6 p.m. This is Dr. Pinesett. I'm The Study Doc. My website is thestudydoc.com. I have amazing coaching programs for you guys and courses. If you guys want, go get into a course, get into a coaching program, come hang out with our community, because we're Cult of Greatness, right? We're incredible, and we support ourselves and we support each other to greatness. So it's a great opportunity, guys. Get to the website. If this is your first time here, like I said, subscribe, turn on notifications. We're going to do live action. We're getting back to the real, y'all. Back to teaching, back to training, back to elevating. And if you're trying to elevate in 2022, right, 2022, you're trying to elevate, you're trying to rise about this Omicron, trying to rise about this COVID into the greatness, this is the place to be, guys. I'm the person to be around. So come, hang out, bring a friend, and let's learn every single Thursday. Every single Thursday. I'll do a couple videos on this stuff too to talk more about this stuff for you guys, but it's too long tonight. But we'll be back next Thursday. If you have a topic you want to talk about, something that's fresh on your mind that you're struggling with, send me a DM, my Instagrammers, my YouTubers. Put it in the comment below. Hey, Dr. Pinesett, I want to talk about this. And I'll see it, right? Send me an email. You can go to my website. You can hit the contact page. You can send me a message, and I'll check it. I read all my messages. I'll see it in there, and I'll respond to you. I'll add a video. We'll do it, okay? So everybody, have a wonderful, wonderful, fantastical, incredible, awesome evening. I'll be at Disney on Ice tomorrow. I might actually get out there. Yeah, right. I'm on ice right now. All right, y'all. Have a wonderful evening. Later. What I teach you guys is transformation. If you didn't dominate, changes need to be made. So I give you guys entire systems that make you new. But stop making excuses. Stop whining. Stop, right? Get at it. No excuses. Just dominate.